Hi, Miss Donnelly's classes. This is a screencast on how to do your citation of a website in Noodletools. Is what was covered on January 4th or 5th. And here we go, starting on Big 6 worksheet number 2. In class, we did finish this today. We reviewed real quick. You should have something in this first box, and you have something in the second box. Scrolling down, you'd have something in this third box. All the information for this worksheet is written on the worksheet, so you should be able to read through all the directions and do it on your own. In this box, you would have 2 web addresses, and today we did this last step 4B using Google's advanced search to find a website that's coming from a .edu source. We are skipping 4C because of time and because you have to be tested for map testing. So you do not need to do anything in this box down here. And then you're done with this, you submit this in Schoology. And then we took a break and then came back and worked in Noodletools. Noodletools is a place that we do citations and note cards with at Capitol High School. To get there, just go to noodletools.com. Once you are on this page with noodletools.com, doesn't matter if you've used this in middle school or you're brand new to it, everyone has an account if you're a Capitol High School student. So you're going to click on this gray login button. When you click on that button, then you're going to focus on the right-hand side here and click Google's link to sign in with your student Gmail account. And then if you're brand new to Noodletools, it's going to have you get registered or connected. And so it's going to ask you for your graduation year, putting that in and then hit save. If you use Noodletools at the middle school level at Jefferson or Marshall, it should also ask you to update to your current school of Capitol High School. If it doesn't do that for some reason, you need to come up here to the upper right-hand corner where you see your student email address and use the drop-down to go to My Profile. And then in My Profile, you need to change your school location to be that of Capitol High School and not one of the middle schools. Okay, so make sure that is changed to Capitol High School, because if you don't have it set at Capitol High School, I will not be able to grade your stuff. You won't be able to submit to me. Once you are logged in as a student, you will be able to create a new project. If you had projects from middle school still here, I'd just keep them there. There's no reason to delete them. You're going to come to this greenish gray button and click New Project, and then put in the topic of your assignment. Do not put in Donnelly or don't put in English. Be specific for this assignment and its topic. And then we're going to keep it on the citation style of MLA format, Modern Language Association. And our level of the citation is going to be advanced. You are advanced. Starters, elementary school, juniors, junior high, middle school. Advanced is high school. You need to be using the advanced citation level. So when you have your title in there, MLA ticked and advanced ticked, you can hit the submit button. Oh, I need to make this for a specific period, which is fine. All right, once you move from out of that screen, it has jumped you to the dashboard. So prior, if you hadn't noticed, up here at the top are little navigation tabs. And on the previous screen, this projects tab was highlighted. Now it's moved you to the dashboard tab. And here's where we'd need to put your research question. You can grab that off of your Big 6 number 2. That was back up at the top. When you look at your research question, if there's something that needs to be changed at this point, you have better terminology perhaps from looking at how professionals are talking about your topic, feel free to update your question as needed before you put it into Noodletools. That's all we need to do in this first area. In the second area called sharing and collaboration, I point out that people that are new to Noodletools, if you want a direct link into Noodletools to maybe put at the end of a slideshow perhaps, you could turn on a public access link and paste that in rather than just pasting in all your citations. If you, on the third area down, student collaboration, if you're working with a group, every group member can have access to the same work, just like as in Google Docs. So one person would come in and start this project like we just did, and then they can click on Add Students, and then all the other group members can come put in their email address one at a time and click Done, or all at once by just clicking Add More and get more of them in there and then click on Done. And those people can then go refresh their screen in Noodletools, and the project will show up in their Projects tab so everyone can be working at the same time. What I need you to do, if you did not do this in class, if you're absent or missed this step, is I need you to come to this sharing area, and I need you to click on the Share with a Project inbox. And then in the next box down, just start typing Miss Donnelly's last name, Donnelly. For me, because I'm actually the creator of the Dropbox, I can't see it, but you will have an option of Donnelly first, third, or fifth, and then it'll have my name in parentheses since I'm the creator of this folder. So click on the appropriate period, and then click Done. That's all we need to do on the dashboard. Now you can click over to the Sources button, and we're going to go ahead and cite a website. Looking back at my Big Six number 2 and coming down into that website area, in question number 4A, I should have at least 2 different websites that I liked before we went on break. And then today in class, we found one more website using Google's advanced search and following these directions right here. Of those 3 websites, I would want you to pick the one that you know you'd be able to write a sentence about explaining how it is a credible source, how you know you can trust the information. It has to be specific. You can't just say, this is a credible source. You can't just claim it is. You have to have proof or evidence of it somehow. Oftentimes that evidence will come from clicking on an About Us link off the website and learning about the mission statement of the organization, or clicking on the author's name of the article and finding out what their background is. Then you can argue that they are a professor, or they're a journalist, or that they have some sort of occupation that would lend someone to believe that they would be telling the truth about the topic, not falsifying the data. So coming up with something and knowing that you'd be able to make that statement is important before you pick whatever website you want to cite. So once you have picked the website that you know you could write a sentence about credibility on, go ahead and grab that web address and open that up in a tab next to your Noodletools tab. Because we're going to be clicking back and forth between Noodletools and this website to get the information we need to put in Noodletools. And the first piece of information it's going to want is going to be the web address. So go ahead, if you didn't already have that copied, you probably did if you just opened it in a new tab, you're going to want to copy that web address, and we'll be pasting that in here shortly. Clicking back over to Noodletools now, go ahead and click on New Source. And it says, where is it coming from? Did you get it from a database? Did you get it from a website? Do you have it in your own hands, as in a book source, magazine source? Did you listen to it somewhere? Is it actually an ebook or a file? We're doing the website, as I said. But even when we click on website, it says, okay, well, wait a minute. What are you getting from the website exactly? For most of us, we're just going to be citing one page. So in this peach box on the left-hand side, upper left-hand side, you're going to be citing from one page within a larger website. So clicking on this web page would be appropriate. Although you might notice there's some other things that could also work. Perhaps you did find a magazine or newspaper article out on a website. You could click on those, although a web page would also work for those as well because you're looking at one page from the New York Times website. Okay, but this would work as well. Another one, if you did choose your EDU website, there's a chance that you actually opened up a PDF, somebody's published paper on the topic. And if that is the case, then clicking on this report, technical or research report, is probably the best bet for citing that research paper. There might be something else here that would make sense. One gal earlier today had a US rule or regulation, so that was fun to look at and figure out. But I'm going to be demonstrating the web page one. Clicking on that. So it says I'm citing one page from within a website, and now I'm ready to start doing that. Like I said, the first thing it's going to want is the web address. I already have that copied from earlier, so I'm going to paste that in. And the next thing it's looking for is the date of publication. I can use the drop downs once I go back to the article and find that. Usually the publication date is going to be right below the title of the article. So here's my title of the article or title of the specific page I'm at. And then I have my author's name, and then I finally have a date. So this is the date I'd be wanting to put in. I don't need the Friday part, and I can't copy paste that over. I just need to note it and then come fill it in. So February 28th. The next thing it's asking me is when were you pulling information? Even though we're going to be pulling information in a couple days because of our COVID situation, usually you'd be pulling note cards the same day. And so I'm going to go ahead and let you just click on the word today. And that will fill in the box with today's date. Scrolling down, in the next section, it's going to be information about the specific page. And so we need to get the author's name in here. So under this contributors and this drop down that says role, we want to change that to author. And we're going to go put our author's first and last name in there. So you look at your article, hopefully it's up at the top. Sometimes an author's name will be at the end of the article, not down at the very bottom of the website itself, but just at the end of the article itself before any comments. If you don't see any author at all, it is okay to leave it blank, but you do want to try to get it filled in if you have an author. There is a chance you have more than one author, and if that's the case, you're just going to click on this Add Contributor button and add as many as you need. You can always delete if you click too many times. There is also this last name, and then it says or group. Please do not put a group name in there unless you've already filled out further down the publisher of the site box and you still have another group name to give credit to. Most often, people that think that they have a group name, it's actually the name of the website or the publisher of the site as a whole, and it's not really a group name. So only put in a true author first and last name here. Do not put a group name. Coming further down, we're looking for the web page or document/article title. So this is the name of the specific page you're on. This name is almost always that big, bold font at the top. That's really done on purpose by web page formatters. Okay, so you just want to copy that big, bold font at the top of that specific page you're on and get that title in there. The next box we will leave blank. We don't need to worry about an English translation since it's already in English for us. Now we're into the third area of the citation about the website as a whole. We need the name of the website. Oftentimes, your name of your website will be in the upper left-hand corner. That, again, is a formatting, a standard format for websites. This one I have just a little icon. I don't have a name. And even if the name's there, usually it's part of an image with an icon, so you're not going to just be able to easily copy-paste that over What you can do is scroll down towards the bottom of the website as a whole, since it's the name of the website, and see if there's something you can copy from down at the bottom by the copyright information. Mine, again, is showing up as an image. I can't just copy paste this over. I'm going to have to type it, but usually you can find something that you can copy paste over. If not, you just get to type it like I get to do. The publisher of the site is the next box. Sometimes there is not a different publisher than the name of the website. That is true for my website. Concordia University is the name of the website, and it is the publisher. I'm not going to repeat that. I'm just going to leave the publisher box blank. But if I were to come down to this copyright information, wherever I see the little copyright symbol and the year, which will automatically be 2021, that got reset at midnight on January 1st. But if I were to see that maybe Disney owned Concordia University, that would be down here by the copyright information. So if I see a name that's different than what I gave for the name of the website by the copyright information, then that is what I could put in the publisher's box. Okay, but I don't have anything different on my website. You might. Again, that would be down by the copyright information itself. If after filling out the name of the website, and if you had a different publisher of the site than that of the name of the website, if you still have another group name that you've not given any credit to yet, and you did not have an author's name up here, then and only then would you want to fill in this box that's group up here. So always have to fill out the name of the website and the publisher boxes first before you'd be able to put in a group name up here rather than a specific author's name. We are almost done because you don't need to go try to find the editor of the site as a whole. That's not really standard format. It's there if you want to hunt and peck around, but not necessary. Don't worry about the edition, version, revision numbers. And we will come back to do an annotation later, and it's in this box that you'll be writing that sentence about how you know this is a credible source with a very specific reason as to why it's credible. We're going to come back and do that closer to the end of the month, thanks to the scheduling that's happening right now. So for today, you are good to go, and you can just hit the blue Save button at the very bottom or at the top in the upper right-hand corner, and it will save that citation. You do need to always hit the Save button to have it save. It does not auto-save. At this point, that's all we did for doing the citation itself. Later on, I'll do another screencast that will go about doing the note cards and then doing the citation for the database article we found. Have a good day.